Not Worth the Time with Wade Taylor. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Not Worth the Time. Welcome. Just welcome back. It's been 2 weeks, and we're here again. I'm recording this at the last possible second I should be doing it. What's new, though? I've been slacking with this one a little bit. Not terrible, though. I'm still getting you guys the podcast. You guys are enjoying it. You're liking it. I haven't heard any complaints. I don't hear anything from you guys most of the time, which is nice, which means I just assume I'm always doing a pretty good job. Imagine just me slacking off on this podcast. That's when you guys finally start like, hey, what the fuck, man? That's when I start getting my first emails and shit. That would be wild, man. Working like crazy, though. This new job has been the most physically tasking job I've ever had. But, it's been good. I've been working, cutting down trees, It's been good. Just taking down trees, trimming them up, lifting the brush, throwing brush into a chipper. It's been good. Been enjoying it. It's been a little kind of weird how much I've actually enjoyed this job so far. But it keeps getting better. I've learned something, though. I used to think that construction workers or laborers in general kind of always moved really slow. Like, they walked slow, and I'm like, why are these guys walking so slow, man? Like, they should be kind of in more of a hurry, right? Like, should be in a hurry. Like, we're trying to get this thing done. People are waiting on us. We're trying to get this road built, We want to get this road built so people have a path. They have a straight path that they know they can get to somewhere, right? You got to lay down this concrete and do it well. We can't do it too fast, though, either. But I always just thought people kind of walk slow when you're. But then I realize now that after buying steel-toed boots that I wear every day, that shit's fucking heavy. It's like just wearing an ankle weight when you're running. It's just crazy how much weight it adds to that. So you just walk a little slower. If wearing the steel-toed boot affects your way you walk. I'm telling you, it really does. You kind of just throw it, plant, and then swing, throw, swing, plant, throw, swing, plant. The steel-toed boot really takes it out of you, man. You gotta stay on top of with that steel-toed boot. And I'm thinking, steel-toed boots make people bow-legged. Yep. I'm pretty sure they do, just because of the way you have to walk and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure somehow that weight distribution fucks up your hips and makes you bow-legged. It's a natural thing. They need to put that out as a warning label on the fucking boxes. I can't believe it's not a warning label on the boxes. It is crazy, guys. You just need to really fucking have your P's and Q's in order. You're gonna maybe get a chiropractor. They should come with one. It should come with a warning, says, hey, you're about to be bow-legged from these boots. Also, here's a free coupon to a chiropractor. Go get the fucking your hips replaced. I've been watching way too many of those videos of chiropractic videos, man. Watching people get their spines fucking snapped back into place. What's funny is, how much of it they always are, talking about. Everybody apparently has at least one of their hip bones just rocked backward. That's the thing they talk about all the time. Your hip is rocked backward. Your hip is rocked backward. I probably have both my hips rocked backwards. It's probably why I lost 2 inches of height. You know what I'm saying? I used to be 6'2", 6'3", if you looked at me in the basketball program. Just gave me that extra inch so I looked a little more intimidating on the roster that week at the basketball game. But really was 6'2", and I've lost that. I'm pretty sure I'm 6 foot now, even. I'm almost positive about that. I think I've been shrinking. I'm hoping by doing this job and being on my feet all day, maybe I'll gain that back by just having better posture and not sitting all day at a desk, because I think that was fucking me up. That's the craziest part. I thought I should go to a chiropractor, right? That's one reason why I was watching all these chiropractic videos. Okay, what's the scary shit look like that they're gonna do to you? It's always the neck shit. It's always fucking terrifying when they're about to snap your goddamn neck right into place. It's not a fun time. You don't want to listen to you don't want to hear your fucking neck pop, okay? There's one thing, your spine, which is, it's still pretty terrifying when you pop your own spine. But to have somebody just grab your neck and just yank it back and fucking jerk it is the most terrifying thing ever. And that's how, like, that one lady, I think they proved in a court of law that, like, he didn't cause the blood clot to explode, but she had one or something. Like, I remember reading that being a story like this. Chiropractor killed this lady because he twisted her neck and popped a fucking aneurysm in her head. It's like, oh shit, you know. But I watched a lot of those videos. I forgot where I was going with this. Man, I wish I could back up and listen to what I just said. But it's gone now. But just watching all those chiropractic videos. Oh, now I remember. I thought I was going to have to probably start going to one. Because, like, just sitting all day the way I did at my old job at a desk, my back fucking hurt constantly. My lower back was constantly always hurting. I thought, like, I just had a problem with sports, like playing skateboarding for as long as I did, playing baseball and all that stuff, and just in golf even, especially golf, with, like, the way you swing a golf club. I thought, oh, man, yeah, I've just fucked up my lower back. This is the way life is. And I was like, well, maybe I can start going to a chiropractor and it can help with it. And then I started doing this job where I wasn't sitting all the goddamn day. And lo and behold, my back feels better now, guys. Huh. Who would have thought that by not sitting all fucking day, my back would feel fucking fantastic? I feel like I could run goddamn marathons now, dude. I'm also stretching now, too, which is probably helping. Okay? Stretch every morning and stretch every night. That's, by the way, underrated thing, stretching before going to bed. It seems counterproductive, right? Like, you stretch to warm up for something. Well, I'm telling you what, sleep's a goddamn activity. You should be stretching every night before you go to sleep, because you got to get ready and limber for that activity you're about to go into. Yeah, because sleeping's hard work, guys, and you got to make sure you're loose and limber for when you go to sleep. Yeah, you got to stretch for those night tears you're about to have. You're about to get up in the middle of the night and start shaking the fucking headboard and screaming, possibly ripping paintings off the wall. Things are about to get weird with your night tears, so you should better stretch and make sure you don't tear a muscle while you're fucking freaking out about demons eating your face, while your wife is terrified for the third night in a row, like screaming, thinking you're possessed, And she's a very holy woman. She believes in the Bible, so she doesn't think she thinks it's actually Satan. And then that's when you find out, you get a call from your father-in-law, who is a pastor, in a small town church, and he's just like, David, you just gotta stop. You gotta stop having these night terrors. You gotta denounce the devil. And it's like, it's not the devil. It's a fucking diagnosed problem. I have it. Okay. And I'm scared to take an Ambien anymore. That's what I used to take to go to sleep. And then Roseanne got kicked off because she tweeted out some racist shit. I don't want to be that guy, Father. I don't want to be that. Do you have to call it? I've always wondered that. Like, so if you marry into a family where it's a pastor or a priest, I think priest can't get married, but a pastor can for, like, Lutherans, right? So, like, you marry into that family. Do you still call him a pastor all the time? Can you call him by his first name? Can you be like, Pastor Greg? It's no longer really formal. That's how you get informal with the pastor. But yeah, dude, stretching before bed. Underrated. Try it, guys. It's great. It takes some getting used to, because it kind of somewhat wakes you up, because you got the blood flowing a little bit because you stretch. It's not like you got to stretch long, like 5-10 minutes, guys. 5-10 minutes. We're already 10 minutes into this podcast. But, oh, you didn't know that? Well, we're actually only 9 minutes in. We're 9 1/4 right now. So, but either way, that's how long it would have taken you to stretch right now, and you could be ready for bed. You could listen to the first part of this podcast and be like, oh my God, I'm done stretching. Now I can go to bed. Click, turn it off, and then wake up in the morning, stretch, and by the time you're done listening to this whole episode, bam, that's 20 minutes of stretching. You did it. You listen to this podcast. Boom. Bam. Start using my podcast as a goddamn measuring tool for how long you need to stretch. That's all I care about. Just do that, guys. This new job's been good, though. It has been good. The weirdest thing, though, is the fact that I just run into weird people all the time. We were at this job, taking down a tree in the backyard, and there was also some guys there replacing the windows. Cool, Just a couple labor brethren, us laboring brothers got to stick together, We're doing a job for this teacher. Oh, teacher. Doing they're heroes, don't you know? They got banners and everything. They stick the goddamn signs in the yard to let you know a teacher lives here, so people be like, God damn it, that's a patriot. Yeah, these guys fighting foreign wars, they got nothing on what these fucking teachers do, let me tell you. But us laborers got to stick together. But anyway, we're just out front. At one point, we're cleaning up, like we're like raking, doing our thing. You got to rake a lot. That's the one thing they don't tell you about tree service. Cutting down trees as a lumberjack, you rake a lot of sticks. Stick raking. Yeah, pick up sticks. I'm fucking pro at it now, dude. I will pick up sticks all the fucking around you all goddamn day. You can't fuck with my pick up sticks game. Fucking come at me, dude. Come at me. You can't fucking take on my pick up sticks game. But this guy comes up to us and, you know, he's just talking. He's taking his cigarette break, you know, which I started smoking. That's right. Yeah. Just started smoking because I'm a laborer now, and that's what you do when you're a laborer. Because you got a 15-minute break, you burn one. That's what you do. You're always on break, and you burn one. That's how you burn. That's what laborers do. You burn a cigarette. Either that or you throw in a dip while you work. You're getting nicotine no matter what when you're a laborer. You always got to fucking throw in some nicotine. You throw in some dip, or you light up a burn, or you burn one, okay? That's what it comes down to. This guy's nicotine of choice was burning one, okay? So he's burning one, and he comes up, and he you know, starts out like a normal conversation. He's like, God damn, it's a big ass tree. That's how it always starts. That's how every conversation starts when you're a tree service person. That's what I've noticed now is every time you're fucking taking out a tree. It doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter. Well, they somehow big trees come up in the conversation. You'll be just like working on like tree trimming, like a very, very small tree in the front yard, and they're like, at least this is probably the easiest job you've had today. Ha ha ha. That's yeah, no, it is. Yeah, when's the last time you guys took down a big sucker? 2 questions in. It's always about 2 questions before they bring up a big ass fucking tree that they got to ask you about, you know. And which is fine. This is telling war stories, you know. Just telling stories about how you took down a 70-foot oak tree. Everybody wants to hear about that because nobody. You know what's not interesting? It's interesting to hear about how you take down a 70-foot tree. You know what's not interesting? Hearing how you created a spreadsheet in Excel that helped save your company 15% in profit. Nobody gives a shit. That is some of you just fell asleep in that one sentence I just said there. That's how boring that shit is, man. Nobody gives a fuck, you know? But he asked me that, and we get to talking about stuff. And then somehow, because this was like a couple weeks before the election, so everybody, you know, has been listening to CNN or Fox News, getting their hot takes ready to throw at people out in public. Because that's what we do in this country. We get our hot takes, and then we go out and we put another spin on the hot take we just heard. That's how you get it going. And somehow, like we were just working in a weird neighborhood, and there's just like a bunch of people walking by and stuff, and we started telling stories about people getting like my boss and him were talking about like people like jacking like equipment when you leave them at a job site. Like we left our trucks there overnight, right? But we locked all the doors and locked up all the equipment we could, and you shouldn't have any problem then. But unless somebody really wants it, you know, they'll break a fucking window and take shit, and they just. But, like, you do all the steps you can to prevent that from happening. And this guy was telling us about that, and he's like, I worked in Kansas City for years, man, and I was down there in Kansas City. And that's why I carry, man. I always am strapped. And we're just like, huh? You're always strapped? He's like, yeah, I'm always strapped because I'm not fucking taking any shit from anybody. Like, one time, I was in Kansas City, man, working on this job. This guy installs windows, by the way. Remember this. He's like, I was down in Kansas City installing windows. And when I was turn around and look outside, and I see some kid going through the back of my truck. And I go out there and I go, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, and the kid's like, I'm not doing anything. And he's like, you better get the fuck out of here. He's like, I'm not gonna tell you again. You fucking know, you don't come back here, okay? And he's like, oh, okay. So we're like, oh, cool. I mean, you stopped a robbery. That's cool. Like, it's cool. And he's like, but then the kid came back. And we're like, oh shit, there's a sequel. There's a sequel to this story. That was only. We thought that was the whole story. Now we're getting to Act 2. And this guy proceeded to tell a group of strangers that this kid came back and was rummaging through his truck, was in the cab this time. He pulled the kid out of the cab and then shot him. Now, when I say kid, I think you meant he was talking like he was like an 18, 20-year-old. But that's the verbiage he was using. I'm just telling how he said. But he just told a bunch of strangers that were just we were just cutting down a tree. He was like, yeah, I shot that kid dead in the street. Left him there. Just got in my truck and drove off. I'm like, my question was, did you finish the window job? You just left? There's just a dead man in the street now. You left. This person hired you to do your window job. You don't think that they're going to connect those two dots? Yeah, this house right here, there's a bunch of open holes in it. Like, they were getting their windows on. Like, that person's going to know unless they just weren't home now. But even then, they're still going to ask, like, well, there was a guy here definitely working on the windows because there's fucking windows missing. And he told us, he's like, they still don't know who killed him. There's an unsolved mystery this day. Why in the fuck? And this is why I don't believe him at all. Like, that's not a true story. That guy's a goddamn liar. Because one, if you're really a badass person like that, which that's not badass. Like, not badass is cool. Like, you're just like a horrible monster of a person. You don't go around telling people that. You don't go around and just be like, yeah, I shot somebody dead in the street. That's just not a casual thing you bring up in conversation. So I think this guy was full of shit, and also you just don't talk like that. That's just guy's classic tough guy talking, you know. Everybody loves a classic tough guy talking. It was very strange. It was a weird day. It was a weird cap off to that job. We all drove away and like we all met at the next job site, and we were just like, "What the fuck was that?" And everyone's like, "I don't fucking know. That was fucking weird." But why did he bring that up? Why did we have to hear that story? That ruined my day. It's Thursday, and it's Friday Eve, and that's how I gotta end my Thursday? Is listen to some dude talk about how he shot a guy in the street? That's not how I want to end my Thursday. I gotta go home and fucking try to be jolly about that. I do open mics on Thursday. You know how hard it was for me not to just be like, somebody told me they shot somebody today. Like, it's weird. You shouldn't be going around telling people about that. You don't see war veterans going around talking about how they shot people just in public constantly. No, they say that for the VFW. They tell it in some kind of fucked up joke, and then they drink a beer and choke down that inner sadness of the fact that they took another human being's life. And that's how you handle it like a real man. Yep. At least that's the way I would do it. That's the classic Irish way of handling it. You just take a swig of beer, you make a joke about whatever bad thing happened, take a swig of beer, and you push it fucking down. You push it way the fuck down. No, I'm not pushing anything down, guys. I'm not trying to hide feelings at all. Let's get away from me for a second, right, guys? Let's talk about something fun that we found today. You know, so what we're going to talk about today is it turns out that there's some issues happening in France, right? They have a problem with gates. That's right. The French are not big fans of them, and they're hindering like different things. And it turns out this school is asking the parents to respect their gates that they have at the school and not throw their kids over the fucking gate. That's right. These parents are very irresponsible. They're teaching their kids bad lessons and getting them to school late. Yeah. They're not teaching those kids time management or anything. And then they're teaching them that, walls are meant to be climbed over. The borders and fences and gates are not meant to be obstructions that you can't get past. There's always a way around, guys. You can get in anywhere. And that's what they're teaching these kids now, man. The school asks them to stop throwing their kids. It's just great, the fact that somebody's throwing their child. There's like, I think my parents, like, there's definitely a couple times I cut school while we would play hooky, or like something happened where we were just late, and we just we'd work with it. We just wouldn't go to school or something if it was like that big of a deal. Cutting school when I was a kid ruled. My dad a couple of times a year would always like take me out of school and we'd go hunting. So we'd go sit in the duck blind for a day. It was great. And I remember like the first time I asked him, he was just like, "We're gonna go. I'm gonna call you in. You're gonna be sick at school today. And I'm gonna take you hunting." And I was like, "But isn't it important for me to go to school and learn?" Because I was a fucking nerd. I was a fucking nerd child and was like, "Oh, but school is so important, Dad." And my dad said the coolest thing ever. He's like, someday there are some things that can't be learned in the classroom. There's sometimes what's better for you than going and sitting in a classroom all day is spending time with your dad and learning from life experience from you and your grandfather. Because that's what I did. I would sit there with my grandfather and my dad and listen to them tell stories and talk. I can't tell any stories in duck blind. I could now. I got some stories I could tell in the duck blind now. Those are different stories too. But I would just listen to them and I'd learn from things that they went through in their past experience. And yeah, you can do that at Thanksgiving, but it's a lot different when you're like three men. I consider my 8-year-old self a man at that time. I had a gun in my hand. I didn't care. I was a man. I was shooting animals with guns. I didn't care. I didn't have a gun when I was 8, but I had one when I was 12. But just sitting there and you're just like listening. You're gonna learn a lot there, and it's just like it's a different setting, so more. There's just this caliber of stories and the things that are said in that environment are different, and things are talked about in a different way that are just helps you be a man more than anything. I know, like my dad, I think that was it was like a clubhouse for men, and that's when I realized it's important for men to just like be around other men. It is important to do that, just because there's a different chemistry, a different set of rules, a different way of speaking when it's just men hanging out together in that kind of an environment. You can be a little bit more honest about certain things. Like you don't have to watch what you're saying, or you're in a more forgiving environment, that's for sure, in order to speak on just like things that are going on in your life or past mistakes, possibly, in order to try to like help guide somebody in a better direction. It was a good experience, and I wouldn't trade those days for anything. I think about those days constantly. I used to have a little journal. I'm sure I have it somewhere in like a hunting bag where I would write down like lessons. Would write down the lessons that I thought I learned from that day. Like just things that were my grandfather talked about with like his past and what he had done, things my dad would talk about. And then I'd also track how many ducks and shit we shot. So I should find that. It's got to be somewhere. I'm sure it's in like my hunting bag, which is probably so small now, but compared to what I need. But yeah, cool times. But these kids aren't skipping school. I went down memory lane there for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. But these kids aren't skipping. So an elementary school in France put up a pair of posters outside their fence with an unusual request for parents to not throw late students over the closed gate. The Trilid school in Avignon put up the sign, its gate showing a cartoon of a parent sending a small child airborne over the fence. Now, I will say this: get that kid on the gymnastics team right away. Because if they stuck that landing, they're fucking Olympic gold ready. Okay, if you can have your parent toss you over it and you dismount over a fucking fence perfectly, and you just stick the landing. I hope they just did the arm thing, like the kid just stuck it and then did the little foot back and then. Just the floor dance pose after you do like a fucking quadruple flip in the air. Hell yeah. The principal said that the parents literally threw their children over the gate when they arrived and found it closed. Yeah, it's definitely not 2020 where we all have cell phones and you could probably call the school and be like, "Hey, somebody let me in so I can let my child go to school." I'm pretty sure they'd open the gate. I don't think they're going to be like, "Ring, ring. Hello. Yes, I need you to let my child in, okay? They need to go to school, and they need to go to school now, okay? Why won't you allow my child to go to school?" Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Once the gates close, this is all done. It's out of my hands. You missed it, and you know the window of time you have to be here, sir. And we will no longer let your child in. In fact, for all we know, you put a bomb in your kid's backpack. That's why you were late, and that's why they can't come in. We don't have the once 10 o'clock rolls around, we turn off the metal detector, and we can't let you come through without going through the metal detector. And it takes at least 17 hours for it to turn back on. So you're going to have to take your child home. I have to go to work. Well, that's too bad, sir. If you didn't work for Charlie Hebdo, we probably would let you back in. And this parent was the one who fucking drew the cartoon of Muhammad. And he's trying to make up for it by blowing up an elementary school. Wow, this goddamn elementary school is like on one. They are really prejudiced about people being late. Yeah. But this podcast isn't late, which is great, guys, because you know where you never have to worry about a late podcast ever? That's punninggame.com. That's right, guys. Punninggame.com is where you can find all the great podcasts in the world, the greatest of all the podcasts. That's right. They're not ranked number one on iTunes or anything like that, but they are the greatest in the world because you guys listen to them and you cherish them. You can check us out, punninggame.com, Monday through Friday. We got all sorts of fun content coming out, so you definitely want to check that out. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, you definitely want to go to youtube.com and search Comic Wade Taylor. That's where you can find the video versions of the podcast I do, plus clips of my stand-up. I got something really cool coming down the pipeline, so keep your eyes out. So you definitely want to go hit subscribe to that now and be ready for that when it drops here soon. Also, guys, you know, the holiday seasons are coming up and you need to get people gifts. And you also want to tell people about this podcast, but you don't know how to do it. So why not go to the Punning Game shop and just get them a nice, not worth the time hoodie? That's right, with the big clock on. You don't even need to know what the show is. It's a cool-ass hoodie. People will just, it's nice to walk around with a shirt that says not worth the time. And then people go, oh, man, he's just advertising that. Like, he's not worth speaking to. I guess I'll leave him alone. It's the perfect sweatshirt for introverts. You don't want people fucking coming up to you while you're out in public, and this shirt displays that. It's great. So go to punninggame.com and go to the Punning Game shop and click that. And don't forget to use promo code NWTO or NWTPOD. That's NWTPOD, NWT Pod for free shipping at checkout. So definitely don't forget to use that. Guys, thank you again for listening to Not Worth the Time. I've been Wade Taylor, and remember, these boots is heavy.